Hello everyone. I'm very excited about today's topic, as this is a video I've been wanting to make for years, but never had the time to do so. Some of you may not know this, but if there's one thing I absolutely love, it's robots. And what I love more than robots, it's robot characters in media. You name it. Whether it'd be in movies, TV shows or even video games, more often than not, if there's a robot character with a charming or memorable personality and design, it's bound to become one of my favorite characters ever made. Then I got to thinking and I realized that I have quite a few personal favorite characters who just so happen to be robots, and I decided to make a video counting down 10 of those characters. Keep in mind, these are all personal picks, and you might not agree with some of the characters I've chosen, and that's perfectly fine. With that said, sit back, relax and enjoy the top 10 robot characters in all of media. Number 10. Chappie. This is one of the few cases where I actually enjoy the character more than the piece of media that they appear in. I don't think that Chappie is an awful film by any means, but I also think it's very flawed. But if there's one element that keeps me coming back to rewatch it, it would have to be Chappie himself. A lot of Chappie's appeal is owed to actor Sharlto Copley, who manages to make Chappie feel as human as possible through motion capture effects. His performance honestly carries the entire film. Chappie being portrayed as an innocent childlike robot is adorable, and it really makes you feel for the robot whenever something happens to him. His expressive bunny-like ears also add a lot to the emotion and appeal of the character. He's later manipulated into being a gangster in the second act of the movie, but the fact that he has a consciousness and a heart still makes us, the audience, want to root for him. Chappie might not be a perfect film, but Chappie might just be the perfect robot. Number 9. GRR. Invader Zim was and still is one of the craziest and bizarre shows to ever air on Nickelodeon, and there probably isn't a better character that encapsulates the madness the show is known for than the crazy little robot, GRR. Let's be honest, GRR is one of the most quotable animated characters ever created by Nickelodeon. How can you not laugh at the sheer randomness of everything he says or does? Some people might not agree with me, but I think GRR is one of the best examples of a comic relief character done right. His design is simple, but allows for so many hilarious expressions that match the show's art style. And whenever he puts on the dog costume, he can actually be quite adorable when he wants to be. GRR may not be the most competent or functional robot, but that's exactly what makes him so hilarious.
Now self-destruct. Finally!
Number 8. Rover. Okay, this is probably the absolute strangest pick for this list. You're probably thinking, really? A character from Planet 51? A horrible animated movie that nobody cares about? Well, that might be true, but just because a movie or show is bad, doesn't mean it can't have good elements in it. Think Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Star Wars prequels. With that said, I think Rover is a pretty underrated robot, and the best character in Planet 51. While all the other characters rely on celebrity voices and one-liners that may or may not work, all of Rover's comedy is silent. He has an adorable design that's like a mixture of a Mars rover and one of the Star Wars droids, and his obsession with collecting space rocks easily provides some of the funniest scenes in the movie. And not just for the laughs, but he's also quick-thinking and clever. He always manages to escape the clutches of the antagonists in the film in fast and unexpected ways. Honestly, if the movie had just been about Rover's misadventures in the alien planet, I think it would have been a lot better. Regardless of how you feel about Planet 51, there's no denying that Rover steals the show every single time. Number 7. Frenzy. Just like Rover is the best character in Planet 51, Frenzy has to be one of the best characters in the first Transformers film from 2007, right next to Bumblebee. He's a tiny Decepticon who transforms into a radio and hacks information to give to the other antagonists. Frenzy is a perfect balance of sneaky, threatening, and hilarious. He aids the Decepticons in their quest for the Allspark, but also makes for a great comedic relief. He speaks in a Cybertronian gibberish, excellently provided by a stellar voice performance from Reno Wilson.
Like, I created this language and it sounded kind of like this, like, right before, yeah, that was it.
That's awesome.
His interactions with Shia LaBeouf's character, Sam Witwicky, especially, are absolutely hysterical, especially when he says his name multiple times. There's not much more to be said about this pesky little robot, other than he should have been in the other live-action Transformers movies. Number 6. BB-8. So, with Disney's acquisition of Star Wars, fans got a lot of new content from the franchise, from movies to shows, comics and so much more. And with new films, comes new characters. And in my opinion, the best character to come out of the new Star Wars sequel trilogy is none other than BB-8. His soccer ball-like design is quite charming, but what really sells BB-8 for me is his personality. It's funny how a tiny robot with no arms, legs or even a face can communicate so much emotion. BB-8, like his predecessor, R2-D2, is such a spunky little droid who might seem cute and simple on the outside, but can be very unpredictable and should not be underestimated. By far, BB-8 is definitely at his best in The Last Jedi, where he takes on the bad guys all on his own, and still manages to look funny and adorable while he's at it. If Disney wants to keep making Star Wars spin-offs, a BB-8 show for Disney Plus is something I'd love to see. BB-8 is not the only Star Wars droid who deserves a spin-off, but I'll get to that in a few minutes. Number 5. The Iron Giant. Now this is what I call a true classic, and a great character as well. Brad Bird's 1999 film, The Iron Giant, is an absolute masterpiece of animation, and a must-watch for anyone who hasn't seen it. The emotional center of the film, however, has to be the titular Iron Giant himself. He's such a sweet and gentle soul, that it's hard not to love him. Seeing the giant bond with Hogarth, learning what it means to have a soul, and how you are what you choose to be, are all very heartwarming things to watch. There's also a cool mystery to him that's not revealed until later in the film, and I won't ruin it in case you haven't watched it, but it ties into the theme of the film as well, the character arc of the giant. His design is also great, and I especially like how his eyes change color depending on his mood. When he's sad, they turn blue, and they turn red when he's angry or about to attack. I know those are small things, but I always enjoy little details like that in characters. He's sweet, he's caring, he's the Iron Giant. It's impossible not to love him.
I'm Superman.
Number 4. GLaDOS. Out of all the robots on this list, GLaDOS might just be the most complex. She has to be one of the funniest robots ever created, and probably one of the greatest video game villains of all time. Everything about GLaDOS spectacular and instantly iconic. From her unique character design where she hangs from the ceiling, to her sarcastic passive-aggressive personality, and of course, who can forget that amazing voice work from Ellen McLain.
Oh, it's you.
You know her?
It's been a long time.
GLaDOS may be a villain, but she absolutely is the best kind. Her sarcastic comments towards Chell as she navigates the test chambers in Aperture Science are always a riot to listen to, and I always look forward to them every time.
Well done. Here come the test results. You are a horrible person. That's what it says. A horrible person. We weren't even testing for that.
Not only can she go from humorous to chilling in an instant, but she also probably has the most tragic backstory out of any of the robots on this list. I won't spoil anything if you haven't played Portal 2, but I have to say that it gives her character an emotional side that I never really expected from a character like this. She goes through somewhat of an arc as the game goes on, and you know what? When you reach the end, you feel satisfied, but also kind of sad for her. And when you feel for a character like GLaDOS, you know you've created something truly special.
I had a pretty good life. And then you showed up. You dangerous, mute lunatic.
Number 3. Goddard. This is another robot I consider to be extremely underrated. A lot of people always point to Hugh Neutron, or Carl and Sheen as the comedic highlights of Jimmy Neutron, as well as the best characters, but I'd argue that Goddard is more deserving of those titles. I might be in the minority here, but Goddard is in my opinion, the best character in the Jimmy Neutron franchise. I could literally watch this robot dog all day without ever getting bored. First of all, just look at his design. This is easily one of my favorite character designs of all time. Even when the animation in Jimmy Neutron isn't always the best, Goddard somehow manages to look and move great. But on top of it all, Goddard is such a funhouse of gadgets and gizmos. He always has the right tools to help Jimmy and his friends, and with that also comes some great visual gags. Some of the most creative jokes in the franchise come from Goddard, and all the different gadgets he has at his disposal. I love everything about Goddard. He's loyal, he's intelligent, sometimes even more so than Jimmy himself, and he's just a great character. It's a shame that he's very underutilized in the TV series, considering his important role in the pilot movie. How is it possible that one of the main characters, that is even mentioned in the theme song, is relegated to such a small supporting role, and only has one episode that gave him any focus? Well, whatever the case, I have no shame in saying I only watched Jimmy Neutron for Goddard, and yes, he definitely should have gotten a spin-off instead of Sheen. Number 2. R2-D2. What more can be said about the most legendary droid in all the galaxy? I'm going to be honest, I'm not actually the biggest fan of Star Wars, though I do respect the franchise and its legacy. However, if there's one thing I look forward to every time I see any Star Wars content, it's R2-D2. I know I already talked about a Star Wars droid when I mentioned BB-8, but come on. Did you really expect me to leave out R2? This is one of the most iconic fictional robots of all time, and with good reason too. There is just so much appeal to be had with this astromech droid. He has a cute and stubby design, a spunky but good-hearted personality, and fantastic sound design by Ben Burtt. You can't really go wrong with all the beeps, whistles and screams this little robot makes. Not just in design, but in terms of characterization, R2 blows it out of the park with how heroic and loyal he is. Just like Goddard, he has an arsenal of fun little gadgets that he always uses to help the heroes in their missions. He's even known to take on enemies all on his own with no trouble whatsoever. I would honestly love to have my own R2-D2, and can you really blame me? R2-D2 could easily carry his own spin-off show or movie, and I think a project on Disney Plus would really suit him. Star Wars may be a huge franchise with tons of iconic characters. But out of all of them, R2 is the droid I'm looking for. And the number 1 greatest robot character of all time is...
WALL-E.
What else do you even want me to say? It's WALL-E. Not only is this the protagonist of one of the greatest Pixar films ever made. A film, which, by the way, also happens to be my favorite movie of all time, but this is easily the most lovable character to ever come out of not just Pixar, but out of any studio in general. Next to the Iron Giant and Goddard, WALL-E is by far the purest robot on this list. He has such an identifiable goal, and a relatable personality. He's shy, he's curious, and a hopeless romantic. He's not only a joy to watch with his expressive movements and gestures, but also a joy to watch on an emotional level. Every time you see this little robot hold his own hands, you root for him to find the love of his life. You want him to end up with Eve and not be lonely anymore, and all this is portrayed through little to no dialogue whatsoever. It's simply amazing. WALL-E is just a fantastic character, and there's just not enough time here to describe how much I love him. So for now, I'm just more than proud to give him the title of my absolute favorite robot character of all time. And that was my top 10 robot characters in all of media. I hope you all enjoyed my list, even if you didn't necessarily agree with my picks. All of these characters, even some of the ones I didn't mention, have a special place in my heart. It's always amazing to see how great writers, animators and storytellers create unique characters that leave an impact on you. Whether it's in live action, animation, gaming and beyond, memorable characters come in all shapes and sizes, and these are just some of the ones I enjoy personally. I'll always love these robot characters, and who knows what other favorites I'll discover in the future. Thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, share and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I hope you'll stick around for more videos like these in the future. Ray Kid out.